Alright folks, and let's do a quick recap on the Felice or Felice Premium Tier 9 Italian medium tank for the Battle Pass Special Marathon with the Viking TV show themed. So complete 40 stages to reach the final reward, but you have to pay 3,500 gold for the actual vehicle with the 3D style. It's not exactly free. If you complete the normal track with the grind, you only get 3 crew members with the voiceover. So similar to the Terminator T-32 or Snatch Charioteer, it's not exactly a free vehicle, but obviously cost a lot less after the grind. It's also a tier 9, but there were lots of buffs to the mobility and nerfs to the firepower with this vehicle. So more or less, it's like a Chimera or Nemesis at tier 9. Large caliber gun, big alpha damage, but not the fastest of a medium tank body, and certainly not the thickest of armor for the hull. So only relying on turret front to bounce the shots, but let's take a look at the changes to the stats. But they buff the mobility dramatically, so better horsepower per ton ratio, better top speed, and traverse at the cost of firepower, nerfing the penetration, alpha damage, DPM, and dispersion while moving, and also shell velocity. They buffed the side gun depression from 5 degrees to 8, and somewhat changed the armor a little bit, but nerfed the view range also slightly, so there were lots of tweaks with this vehicle. But here is the actual Supertest comparison with the in-game garage screenshot. So firepower change, mostly the DPM and penetration, that's kind of dramatic, but better aim time. They actually nerf the cupola armor from about 200 baseline to about 180 to 165. So it's weaker cupola in comparison to the original one right here, but they did buff the cheek armor on the hull sides from 75 to 125. It's auto bounce at this angle, but you're mostly shooting at the upper plate, which got nerfed by 10mm. So there are a few buffs, there are a few nerfs. Side scraping is a little bit better with 70 belly armor on the sides, with space armor covering the tracks, but more or less it's a tweak for better mobility. So playing more like a actual medium tank than a pocket heavy tank of a medium tank playstyle. But I have the equipments set up so the actual stats are a little bit different to the original stats without equipments, but with the rammer, with vertical stabilizer and vents, about 2,350 DPM, and with a good crew and food you could go up to about 2,400. But this thing is not a DPM machine. It's about the alpha and surprise damage of the gun. Originally it's about the same as the 120 Hesh round on the Cobra, but they nerfed it by 10, so slight difference. But side armor is side skirt covered, and better belly armor now. So shielding of 5mm as well as the tracks, and they buff this area strip of the belly armor from 35 to 70, so slightly better at side scraping, but you should not commit. Definitely should not commit. They nerfed the upper plate from 120 to 110, but you're not really relying on the upper plate most of the time. You're relying on the turret front. So turret front is thick, but the cupola got nerfed from 200 baseline to 180. So it's not the greatest of cupola by all means, but more or less like a M47 Improved, the Arnold patent, if you will. But yeah, you'll still get pinned. 200, 180, it's about the same. So armor is mostly about the turret, the firepower is about the alpha. They buffed the mobility, and it's a little bit more mobile now. It's not exactly 15 because of the equipments on my vehicle, but you could put turbocharger to make it go a little bit faster. And camo is alright, but I have the crew members, so that is a skewed But let's take a look at tanks.gg. The original stats is right here. So they have better dispersion originally than the 0.24 now. So dispersion is not great while moving and traversing the hull, but snapshotting with traversing the turret is actually very comfortable. Very comfortable. And the vehicle is not fast for you to traverse about, so you'll likely have a better aim time with the actual accuracy. Accuracy is not that great too, but you have a better time with the traversing of the turret, snapshotting targets from what I played. So the vehicle feels like a large Chimera, right? Feels like a large Nemesis at tier 9. It's not a small vehicle by all means. By all means, the chassis is pretty huge, but it's alright. I mean, chassis is relatively long from what I can see in comparison to a Chimera or a Nemesis. Nemesis is like a smaller baby chieftain. So British, both are British too, funny enough. So Chimera, smaller in body length, as well as the Nemesis. So these are mostly large caliber guns, 110 on the Nemesis and 127 on the Chimera. But you have a little bit more punch, 40 more alpha than the Chimera, with about the same DPM. Better pen, of course, but about the same DPM as the Chimera. But better turret front, so give or take. The same DPM on a tier 9 as with a tier 8. That's kind of harsh, but overall, after playing with this vehicle, it's certainly a little bit more standard of a playstyle in comparison to the likes of 590 in a sense. The 590 is not that accurate. It's about the same dispersion while moving, but worse turret traverse dispersion. And you have to play around with the auto reloader, which is kind of iffy with the style, but base accuracy aim time is also kind of wonky, so not exactly the best premium tier 9 medium tank. Is it better than the UDES 0303? Nah, this thing is better. This thing is more or less a better sniper than the 𝗲𝗲. So 𝗲𝗲 is a close range fighting vehicle similar to a T54D, but at least you have the gun depression and the surprise alpha punch of the gun. But which one would I rather play? Both dispersion while moving is crap, but this thing has a bigger bite to the actual alpha damage compared to the L7-esque of a gun. But let's see, compare this to a T54D. Yeah, all premium tier 9s are not really that crazy, so ugh. Yeah, T54D has better traversing and moving hull dispersion, but not as good turret traverse dispersion. Certainly better accuracy baseline, less pin, but better pin on the T54D, but less alpha, and more DPM on the T54D. Surprisingly, this thing revs up faster than the T54D, but terrain resistance is not as good, so effective top speed going through mud is slower than the T54D, but same health, surprisingly enough. Yeah, worse camo, same view range. Better gun depression by 8 degrees, and they buff it to the sides as well. So, slower shell velocity, but more potential damage with the actual gun. I feel like it's fine. I feel this is better than the 590 in a sense, but you're still paying for this vehicle. It is a grind, but afterwards, you still have to pay 3,500 gold. And it's still worth it in comparison to a tier 8 premium, like a PR68. That vehicle's alright, it fits my playstyle, but it's certainly not the best German medium tank for a marathon. So, the 𝗦𝗲𝗶𝗶 Kampfpanzer PR68 with the Dune style. So it's similar in terms of battle pass style for the marathon, but you get a fancier looking skin. The skin could also be taken off if you don't like it, so that's great. Only vehicle out of the battle pass style marathon that cannot take off the skin is a Terminator T32. The rest, you can take off the skin, which is great. The same applies to this vehicle. So that's a plus, but you have a crow with it too. Alright, let's just talk equipments and then we'll jump to the actual fun stuff. So equipment wise, I have a rammer, I have a vertical stabilizer because dispersion while moving sucks. So you're poking up and down while hauled down on a ridge line. So go for tactics, moving about. Vertical stabilizer does help. And I have vents to help out with the accuracy, the aim time, some of the smaller stuff. But you can also put turbocharger to make it go a little bit faster. Or improve aiming, maybe improve hardening. It's all up to you, right? It's up to your playstyle. But this is more or less aggressive assault medium tank. So you are at the front lines. Improve hardening doesn't hurt. So you could put that. Optics also could work, but it's tied between vents, improve hardening, turbocharger, or optics for me. The rest, not really necessary. So vertical stabilizer and rammer is a definite must. The last one is up to you for your personal preference. And field mod wise, it's assault medium tank. So first one is traverse or less penalty from damaged ammo rack or engine. Not even an ammo rack, just a gun. So traverse could be better. And you could put, I would say better traverse. Use the repair kit and your crew skill for the damage ammo, well, loading capacity. Huh. Speed of dispersion with damage gun. Oh yeah, has the ammo rack, just doesn't say it. Loading speed penalties, it's the ammo rack. So I would say use the repair kit and don't be too aggressive. Your hull armor does not give you the chance to be too aggressive. I would say better traverse. 45 degrees is what you're trying to aim at, especially for the turret, since you have a very good turret traverse dispersion. I would say better traverse for now. Dispersion while moving or better base accuracy. Base accuracy is already kind of crap, so I would say better disperse while traversing. Yeah, dispersion while traverse is better on this thing. Camo or reverse speed. If you don't have turbocharger, reverse speed is not great, only 15. And even worse with the camo buff, only 13. So more or less a heavy tank at this point. Maybe I really should put turbocharger on this thing, but yeah, turbocharger would definitely benefit the top speed on this thing. And finally, aim speed or vehicle hit points. Vehicle hit points is not that much. Not really. 50 HP at the cost of about 0.1 second. I would rather have faster aim time. So yeah, I would rather have 30 less health for faster aim time. I would say faster aim time. And better reverse speed at the cost of camo. Jumping back to this one, it's a big gap. It's 3%. But if you're already at the front lines, you don't really care. So camo doesn't hurt, right? Even while moving. I mean, while moving camo from 25.8% to 19.8% is kind of dramatic. If you're crossing open fields, it's less likely for light tanks to spot you while crossing and get a shot into your side armor and damage your ammo rack. So I will still say better camo is still a little bit better than reverse speed. I still say better camo, but originally this vehicle I rated it at 5 or 5.5 with the alpha damage. Not 5. Felice. So back in June of this year when we did the video, but 5 to 5.5, mixture of Prototipo 6 hull, thicker frontal armor, Contracarro's stock turret, and an M47's improved cupola. They changed the armor a little bit, but assault medium tank, that is different than Italian medium tanks. So your crew skills will be a little bit different. You probably won't have intuition trained on your loader. You have something else like a better charge or better shell velocity instead of intuition, mostly because the auto reloader. But subpar aim time accuracy, very similar to an M47 situation. Only good turret armor, yada yada. Fat mobility, they buffed it, but still kind of slow. I still say it's a 5.5. It's still relatively okay. It's not the worst, but it's all about the alpha damage and the surprise. So if this thing has space armor for the whole front, it'll be a lot better. But for now, it's relatively cheap. So segue to the actual cost. I just gave up. I don't want to grind. Already behind on the actual battle pass for this season. So I'm already behind completing the battle pass. We have until the end of November. And I don't have the time to grind 2 chapters in the span of a November or 1 month for 2 chapters worth of stages. So I thought, fudge it, I'll pay. I'll pay the gold straight up. But it is relatively cheap for this vehicle. So this is the actual gold cost. The improved pass for the vehicle is 3,500 gold. The actual 40 stages is only 10,000 gold. That's about the same as a tier 8 premium. This is a tier 9 premium. Tier 9 premium has a 1.8 credit making capability compared to tier 8s where they're 1.6 percentage of credit making capability. So about 60% more credit compared to 80% more credit on tier 9s. But you get 3 crew members with voiceover as expected and a bounty equipment. But here's another caveat, is that it comes with 4 crew members that has Brothers in Arms as a 0 skill perk. So I'm using my projectile crew, that doesn't count, but originally they came, or the vehicle came with the 𝗦𝗫𝗶 crew, and they have, so this crew member has a 0 skill perk of Brothers in Arms. So the same applies to all crew members trained for the 𝗦𝗫𝗶. It comes with this crew. You can retrain it for another vehicle like a Projecto 65 or even the Minotauro. You can switch it to Tank Destroyer if you fancy, but it's technically 7 crew members with Brothers in Arms, right? It's not exactly 3. 3 has the voiceover, which is nice, but you're getting 7 for the price of 10,000 gold or 13,500. And one stage is 250. So not the worst of deals. And I'm already strapped on time, so fudge it, I'll pay up straight. I guess I don't need to grind. I don't want to grind. I'm already behind on my battle pass, so fudge it and I'll pay for it. But the vehicle is not that ugly of a skin, so it's relatively okay. It's not the worst. Looks like the Sabaton STRVK or Alt Proto AMX30 type of style with the trebuchet, not the trebuchet, the large crossbow of a thing. So Gallic, medieval, but there is a crow that will follow this vehicle. Once you reach 35 km/h top speed, it will fly off if you're driving slower. It will fly to you when you're driving above 35 km/h top speed. So I thought, where the hell the crow came from? It just like randomly appear and randomly disappear. It's tied to your top speed. So once you reach 35, the crow will appear. It'll fly about, but if you're driving too slow, it flies off. Well, there you go, folks. The Felice or 𝗦𝗫𝗶, so not half bad of a pickup, right? Not really for that gold price, but you can also get it for 3,500 gold if you don't want to grind. So only 10,000 for this vehicle, plus with the crew, and 0 skill Brothers in Arms for Italian is not bad too. You get 7 crew members in total technically, but I feel it's fine. I feel you're not that much constrained to play with this thing, right? It is the big alpha damage gun, but sometimes it works. Sometimes you're struggling to reach the front lines with the mobility. So it's a big chunky body of a vehicle, but it's more or less a heavy tank at this point. But I still feel it's a 5.5. If you're packaging the entire deal into the offer, I would say it's a 6 out of 10. It's not that bad. Not really. I mean, I wouldn't mind paying 10,000 gold for it, but in the end, it's still a lot better grind than the 𝗏𝗏. The 𝗏𝗏 was terrible. I hate that format. Battle Pass format is a lot better. You don't have to do XP. It's all based on performance in terms of the list on the team, right? So if you're bottom of the team list, yeah, you get like 3 out of usually 7 or 5 points per loss, but it's not about XP. If you're losing with the XP format, you only get 100 XP. So that's crap compared to completing the actual marathon where you're getting like 5 points or 3 points, battle pass points per losing match, then stupid XP count. But that's just my preference. But in the end, it's not a bad vehicle. Not really. So I still love battle pass format compared to the 𝗏𝗏, but that's just me. So also, it's also available for gold, so you just pay straight up if you want, which is nice. But as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll do the prediction video next with 𝗏𝗏𝗶𝗏, since we already have the last patch for the freaking year. So I'll do the spreadsheet. I'll break down the likely appearance of premium tanks, but now we can cross off the 𝗏𝗏𝗶𝗏 from that list. Already know this was coming, so obviously, but we'll just have to wait and see if the Eric makes appearance on the actual 𝗏𝗏𝗶𝗏. I'm waiting for that vehicle. If the Eric concept number 1 or the term 3 appears on 𝗏𝗏𝗶𝗏, I'll be real happy, but we'll just have to wait and see. So as always, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
あれが未来に何度でもずっと食らいつくこの間違いだらけの世界の中